I'm all that stands between Deucalion and the lives of your friends. I've been the one pulling the leash taut when they're salivating for a bite.
What do you mean?
He wants a true alpha in his back. He thinks it's you.
I'm not an alpha.
But you're well on your way, aren't you?
Then what is he waiting for? What does he want me to do?
He wants to make a killer out of you. That's what he does.
A few weeks ago, we dove into Deucalion's obsession with corrupting Scott McCall.
Yeah, he really wanted to destroy his potential to become a true alpha.
His final desperate gambit was to force Scott's claws into Jennifer Blake to make him a murderer.
Maybe you just need a little guidance.
It's just such a brutal scene.
It really is. And that specific moment brings up a really fascinating point that was actually raised by a viewer named Anion Hero.
Oh, right, I saw that comment.
Yeah, so this viewer argued that if Deucalion had actually succeeded, like if he had totally overpowered Scott and physically forced his hand to take Jennifer's life, the kill wouldn't legally or morally belong to Scott.
Because of the coercion.
Exactly. It was pure physical coercion.
But if I kill someone, I can't be a true alpha, right?
Exactly.
So, the viewer argued that Scott shouldn't have lost his true alpha potential because the act simply wasn't his fault.
But the supernatural ecosystem of Teen Wolf has no concept of a jury. It just doesn't operate on a cosmic moral reward system at all. It operates on objective bioelectrical physics.
Yeah, so even though he didn't act of his own free will, Scott's soul would have taken the hit and he would have lost that true alpha potential. To understand why even coerced killing would block a werewolf's potential natural rise in status, it helps to look at where this universe's primary supernatural energy came from in the first place.
Yeah, we have to travel way back in the lore for this one. Back to a mythological figure named King Lycaon of Arcadia. According to the official Teen Wolf Wiki, the origin of this power traces back to a monumental mistake that Lycaon made.
Lycaon didn't just refuse to honor the gods, he challenged them. He invited Zeus to a banquet and then tried to serve him the flesh of a human being.
Basically, he offended Zeus.
And Zeus is not known for his patience.
No, definitely not.
Angered Zeus blew the place apart with lightning bolts.
Lightning bolts, which, in the context of this universe, are described as pure god-level electricity at Lycaon and his 50 sons.
And then punished Lycaon and his sons by turning them into wolves.
The most crucial takeaway from Gerard's recounting is the sheer math of the event.
The math is fascinating.
Zeus struck Lycaon and 50 sons. That means Zeus created exactly 51 alpha sparks that day.
51 sparks of pure divine electricity. And for centuries, that was just it. Those original 51 sparks formed an entirely closed loop.
Nothing more and nothing less.
Exactly. They were the only alphas on the entire planet. And that power could only change hands in two really specific ways.
Right. Either you inherited it naturally,
or you took a life and stole it.
Yes. Multitudes of beta werewolves were created over the generations, either born into the curse or transformed by a bite, but the number of alphas never grew. The entire ecosystem was sealed.
If this is a strictly closed electrical pool with a hard limit of 51 sparks, how does a true alpha even fit into the equation? Where does the extra electricity come from if you aren't stealing one of the original 51?
Well, this leads directly to a defining theory from Paul, and it's all about the human soul.
The soul as a power source.
Yes, exactly. Paul defines the human soul not just as this, floaty spiritual concept, but as the actual natural electrical current that animates the human body and mind. Just like Zeus and his lightning bolts, the human soul is also a piece of divine electricity. So the breakthrough of the true alpha happens when a high-quality human soul mixes with a werewolf bite. The human soul serves as the driving force. It generates the exact bioelectricity needed to elevate a beta to alpha status. It literally proves that a spark can be forged from within.
It's rare. It's something that doesn't happen within 100 years, but every once in a while, a beta can become an alpha without having to steal or take that power. They call it a true alpha. It's one who rises purely on the strength of the character, by virtue, by sheer force of will.
You knew this would happen. I believed.
Fans, they so often mistakenly treat the true alpha status like it's some cosmic reward program.
Oh, totally, like a prize for good behavior.
Right, like there's a mystical entity sitting up in the clouds weighing a character's goodness. But it's not that at all.
It's just biology.
Yeah, it's more like, well, think about planting a seed in pure nutrient-rich soil versus planting it in poisoned soil. The soil, which is the soul in this case, doesn't judge the seed. It simply dictates whether the seed has the environment it needs to grow into something greater.
Right, if the environment is toxic, the seed can't sprout. Or it sprouts as some twisted mutation. And we've seen that with damaged human souls. The werewolf spark gets twisted in new ways, new shapes that reflect the soul inside.
It's called a kenema.
But it's like us?
A shapeshifter, yes, but it's not right. It's like
An abomination.
And once we understand the uncompromising bioelectrical mechanics of a fractured soul, Deucalion's entire master plan in Season 3A suddenly makes terrifying logical sense.
Maybe you just need a little guidance.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh, completely. Deucalion knew he couldn't manipulate Scott into genuinely wanting to murder her. Scott's moral compass was far too strong, and his mind couldn't be easily broken. He realized he didn't need to change Scott's mind at all.
He didn't need Scott to choose to kill, because even coerced killing is enough to taint the soil of his soul.
Exactly. It is a literal, physical bruise on the soul.
But if a character was manipulated, it isn't fair that their soul bruises.
I know, it feels so unjust.
It feels incredibly unjust, but what we're uncovering here is that it's not a punishment. It's just cause and effect. We only have to look at the ultimate tragic case study in official canon to prove it.
We have to talk about Derek Hale.
We have to talk about Derek.
Derek Hale is the absolute perfect example to prove this biological rule, because Derek has a canonical body count of 3.
Right.
And what's so important to analyze here is that each of these 3 kills happens under vastly different moral and emotional circumstances, yet they all yield the exact same bioelectrical spiritual damage.
Let's walk through them carefully because it really paints a heartbreaking picture of how unforgiving this ecosystem is. So kill number 1 happens in the deeply emotional Season 3 flashback episode, Visionary.
Yeah, with Paige.
Right.
I hate you.
No, you don't. You love me.
Hate you.
You love me.
One little bite, and she never gets sick again. She stays younger, more beautiful. Think how she'll be able to protect herself. Derek, the bite is a gift.
Derek's teenage girlfriend, Paige, is bitten by Ennis, a bite orchestrated by Peter, but Paige's human body violently rejects the transformation.
Sorry.
And Derek, out of pure mercy and profound, crushing love, makes the hardest choice of his life to end her suffering. His intent could not have been more noble, selfless, or pure.
It was an act of absolute love, and yet the universe did not weigh his love. The biological trauma of taking a life still sent a violent surge through his system. His internal reservoir cracked, the golden energy corrupted, and his eyes instantly turned that cold steel blue.
Derek.
I did something terrible.
I know.
My eyes. They're different.
Different, but still beautiful. Just like the rest of you.
Wow.
It perfectly illustrates that even a kill born of pure mercy damages the soul's ability to act as a pure catalyst.
So that is kill number 1, mercy. Then we have Derek's second kill, which is entirely different on the moral spectrum.
Very different.
At the end of the season 1 finale, Codebreaker, Derek kills his uncle, Peter Hale.
You've already decided.
I can smell it on you.
I'm the Alpha now.
This was not mercy in the slightest. This was a calculated, vengeful theft.
Yeah, he murdered Peter specifically to sever Peter's spark and claim the existing alpha energy for himself.
Right, which is the standard, violent method of ascending to alpha status in the natural world.
The biological result to his soul was the exact same.
Because the act is the act.
Right. The reservoir was already fractured, the energy remained oxidized. The physical mechanics did not differentiate between the mercy killing of Paige and the calculated murder of Peter.
But then we get to kill number 3. And this is where it gets really chilling and where it connects directly back to our main topic today.
Yeah, boy.
Kali and the twins physically force Derek's claws into Boyd, resulting in Boyd's tragic death. Does that sound familiar?
Very.
What Kali and the twins did to Derek is exactly what Deucalion tried to do to Scott. Derek was an absolute, unquestionable victim of physical coercion. He was fighting it with everything he had.
He was completely overpowered by multiple alphas. Boyd died by Derek's hand, and Derek bore the permanent biological scars.
Even though he had no choice.
Exactly. Now, we couldn't see a change in his eye color this time, because alphas always have red eyes dominating their visual spectrum, no matter what the underlying soul looks like.
Oh, right. The red overpowers the blue.
Yeah. But official canon shows us clearly that the intense emotional and spiritual trauma bound itself to Derek.
It's okay.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's all okay, Dad.
I'm sorry.
The full moon. That feeling, it was worth it.
It's just tragic.
It is. But this is the definitive proof that being a victim of coercion does not protect your soul from the biological consequences of the kill.
Okay, so we've established that a damaged soul absolutely cannot forge a true alpha.
That's impossible.
You cannot kill and then somehow magically rise to true alpha status later. The pure, concentrated bioelectric energy simply isn't there anymore.
It's gone.
Which brings up a massive, glaring canon contradiction that I know you are already pondering.
Paige! Light this fucker up.
If Derek's soul was profoundly fractured 3 times over, how on earth did Derek rise to alpha again at the end of the movie?
It's the big question.
That seems to contradict every single biological rule we just discussed.
It is the ultimate puzzle of the lore. And to solve it, we first have to examine exactly how Derek lost his alpha status in the first place, back in the season 3 episode, Alpha Pact.
Right, let's look at that mechanism. Because Derek is trying to heal his sister, Cora, who is dying. And Peter is standing right there, desperately warning him not to do it.
Yeah, Peter explains that the profound act of healing reduces a werewolf's spark, specifically draining that unique alpha energy that gives them red eyes and the power to create new werewolves.
It's that spark of power that makes you an alpha. When you take her pain, she draws on the power that provides you with those special gifts. As an alpha, you have that bit of extra, that spark. It intensifies the color of your eyes from a bright yellow into a searing red.
If I can save her.
If. I didn't say it works every time. Could just as easily kill you.
But Derek ignores him. He plunges ahead, channels his spark's energy into Cora, and manages to save her. But the cost was exactly what Peter predicted. the energy transfer completely drained him, reducing him right back to a beta.
Notice the mechanism there, though. The energy from his alpha spark flowed out of him to heal her. He didn't fracture his soul with a kill, he just emptied the reservoir naturally.
Okay.
And since we know a damaged soul like Derek's cannot generate the pure energy needed to recreate a true alpha spark from scratch, his sudden explosive rise in the movie feels like it breaks all the rules.
But it doesn't. Paul from Teen Wolf News has this theory that perfectly resolves the puzzle without breaking a single biological rule of the universe.
It's a great theory.
Paul theorizes that Derek, in the movie, was not actually a true alpha at all.
If we look closely at the natural mechanics, it makes perfect sense. Paul's conclusion hinges entirely on the unique way Derek lost his status.
Because it wasn't stolen.
Exactly. Unlike most alphas, who have their sparks violently stolen, which severs the connection entirely or extinguished by death, Derek gave his energy away willingly.
Right.
He didn't lose the structural capacity to hold an alpha spark. He simply drained the internal reservoir. Because his spark wasn't violently stolen, Paul suggests Derek remained what we could call a potential alpha.
So the biological framework was still there, just lying dormant and empty, waiting for a current.
Yes.
And in the climax of the movie, Derek commits this incredibly intense act of self-sacrifice and pure, unfiltered love for his son.
Scott! What? You're the alpha. He's part of your pack now.
Paige! Light this fucker up.
Paul theorizes that this raw, monumental emotion created a natural surge of bioelectric energy in Derek's soul.
It was like a sudden, violent thunderstorm of divine electricity rushing through his nervous system.
And that profound surge was just enough to organically refill the exact amount of energy he had previously given away to Cora.
It combines everything we know about the human soul's capacity to interact with the werewolf spark, but applies it to a highly specific event.
Right, because Derek didn't need a perfectly pure, uncracked soul to build a completely new alpha spark from nothing.
He wasn't forging a new spark, he was reigniting a dormant one.
In the supernatural world of Teen Wolf, nature simply does not care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your pure intentions. It doesn't care if you were acting out of mercy. And it absolutely does not care if you were physically forced against your will.
Bioelectricity operates on absolute, uncompromising physical laws.
Right.
And the werewolf spark is always just reacting to the reality of the human soul it finds.